you get told about some bosses that you're gonna have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's Stinker, the big strong boy. And then it shows you a picture of Stinker. And,
Stinker, the big strong boy?
yeah.
That sounds like what you'd call your cat or something.
Hello, David.
Hello, Chase.
Welcome back.
I'm back. I'm back on the United States Continental 48.
Yeah, welcome to it. You were on vacation.
I was in vacation mode, my man.
Tell me about your travels, your wanderlust.
My wanderlust took me to my cousin's wedding in Maui,
Yeah.
where I was for a solid week.
Yeah.
And then once that was over, I went to Kauai for a solid 3 days.
Incredible.
And then I came back here, and it was amazing. It was great. It was such a great vacation.
A lot of gamers in Hawaii? Did you run into a lot of gamers?
You know, the last time I was in Hawaii, like 5 years ago, I was wearing this Mario shirt.
Okay.
It was like...
Don't talk to me before I've had my Mario.
Don't tell me before I've had my Mario, exactly. It's just like a picture of Princess Peach saying that.
Confusingly, it's just a picture of Mario. I don't know what the implication of it is.
I'm my own drug, baby. Anyways, I was wearing this big, had all the different characters, it's kind of like overproduced kind of shirt. And that maximalism, I think, is what you call it, right? Maximalist shirt.
Yeah.
And I was wearing that, and one of the people who was working where we were, he was like, "I love your shirt, man." It gave me the Shaka sign. So I guess there definitely are some hardcore gamers out on the islands.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, it felt really cool.
Love to see
I was like, damn, I just got a Shaka from a genuine Hawaiian.
I think a well-earned Shaka feels pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was. I turned to Mallory. I'm like, "Did you see that?
Did you see that?
I'm a cool guy, I guess." And she's just rolled her eyes and was like, "Let's keep going."
I mean, that is one of the punch card achievements for your cool guy card.
That is a secret life achievement that I unlocked right there.
Yeah, they don't list it on there, but it is in the list.
Those don't get doled out very often, I don't think.
Be the recipient of a Shaka. Mm-hmm. That's great. I love that.
Yeah, it was great. So to answer your question. Yeah, there's some real gamers out there. They game hard.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Shouts out to all of our Hawaiian listeners, if there are any.
If there are any, yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
It's Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Continental Chase.
Continental Chase.
Yeah. Because I didn't leave the continental United States yet.
You sure didn't.
Not in the past 2 weeks.
I am a trans-Pacific David.
Ooh, love that. I was hoping you were going to say transatlantic. Like you were going to go all old-timey 1920s.
Transatlantic David. I'm here to play video games. I mean, same vibe, but different ocean.
Ooh, that's a powerful phrase, same vibe, different ocean. I don't know what, that kind of struck me in a certain way.
I mean, that's kind of like LA, not LA, but San Francisco and New York. Same vibe, different ocean.
Different ocean.
Right?
Whoa.
Right?
My mind was churning on things I could say in a transatlantic accent about like video games, but man, you really took me out of my head and put me in another space. That was nice.
Have you played the latest jalopy racing game, Chase? Starring Mr. Mario and his brother, Luigi-san. I've been working on my build in Elden Ring, trying to get it perfect.
How would they change all of the Mario and Luigi names to be less Italian? Because back then they definitely did not like Italians.
Yeah.
Mark and Larry. Right?
Yeah. The Super Mark brothers.
The Super Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch brothers.
Jesus. Hey, have you been playing video games?
I have been.
Could you tell me about those, please?
Yeah, sure. I haven't been playing really anything new since I've been traveling, but I took my trusty old Switch with me.
You know it.
So it was great to play a little bit more Hades, as you predicted last time.
Had to. It's not a difficult prediction. It's like predicting the sun is going to come up tomorrow.
It's like a solid 5-hour plane ride. I'm gonna dabble a little bit in Hades.
You got to get like, an hour at least.
Just get a touch.
Yeah.
Played some Hades. Still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Shocking.
Got much more into Metroid Dread.
Oh, cool.
Very fun. Enjoying it quite a bit. Some of those boss fights are difficult.
Yeah, they really put you through the ringer on a few.
They're not messing around in this game, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But then the run backs are never long, which is crucial, I think, for me to enjoy that type of experience. And it's fair and fun. So it's definitely kind of like a Souls-ish vibe to it.
I was just going to say that those boss battles, and I think we may have mentioned this when we talked about it last time, but they definitely remind me of a Souls boss where by the end of it, you take very little damage because you just have the person's number so acutely.
Exactly. You're just like, I got you. You got nothing else you can show me now. I've learned it all. Yeah, feels good when you just trounce them. Real good. Like you go Super Saiyan. Then also playing a good bit of 52 games. 52 worldwide classics.
Clubhouse games.
I will never remember the name to that game. 52 games,
52
one
games
a game for every week of the year.
Gamers 50 favorites.
Gamers 50 favorites plus 2. Anyways,
plus,
played that
and Knuckles. And Knuckles.
Also featuring Knuckles and New Funky Mode. Anyways,
video game memes. You get it.
Just throw them all out there. One will stick. That was one for everybody who's listening to the podcast. Hopefully,
look under your seat. These memes are personalized for you.
They are coming out hot and fresh. This is the Little Caesars of video game memes right now. We got another 50 on the back burner, ready to go. So yeah, it was really fun to play that on the plane with Mallory. Just play some yacht dice and practice my deep breathing so I don't swear loudly on a plane full of other strangers when I get my ass handed to me in yacht dice, which drives me nuts.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways, anything else I've played? We came back and we played more It Takes Two. Still vibing on that game. It's doing great. I'm really impressed by just the variety in the game. Yeah. And the graphics impress me consistently. Like all the levels feel very different with different game design elements and then also just really well thought out and detailed settings, which is really great. The story, sometimes I'm like, are these people getting back together for the right reason? I don't know, but we'll see. I'm holding out judgment until the very end. But also, if you're taking relationship advice from a video game, you're probably doing it wrong regardless.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of places where there's good relationship advice in video games.
Yeah, or anyone who doesn't know the intricacies of your own personal relationship. But I digress.
Fair.
Still a fun story. Yeah, so I think that's really... Oh, one other thing I did do. I think you did this too. I downloaded UFC Fighter 4.
David.
Is that one of the games you've been playing?
It is. I got some shit to say about UFC Fighter 4.
I haven't played much so far, but I know you made, spoiler to your section probably, a Wario character.
I did.
So I made a Waluigi character. And I was pretty happy. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I'll send you a screenshot of him.
They have a pretty robust character creator in this game that like kind of allows you to fuck around with the person that you're making.
It was pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
You could really change a lot of things. Reminded me of the old school character creators where it was you can actually like change each individual like landmark on their face as opposed to choose from like 11 predetermined faces. That's it. So you can really make some wacky shit in this one, which is fun.
Yeah.
And I really miss like a very robust create a character engine. Yeah. It's really fun to just muck around in. Haven't played a lick of the game because I spent probably like 45 minutes just making Waluigi. But I'm excited to go and boot him up and give him a shout. Yeah,
this is very good news. We got recommended this game from our friend and listener Drew.
Shout out Drew,
who said that it would be a good addition. Like we'd enjoy these games because he was enjoying these games. I will return to my enjoyment of these games later on. But he called his shot. And I think he nailed it, at least for me.
All right, I'm to be determined still because I really haven't interacted with the game engine yet.
Waluigi has not stepped inside the ring yet.
Not yet. Yeah. He's still just looking like an abomination on an interview. So, but I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued.
Sure.
I think still been playing a little bit Death's Door. Still very good. Very much enjoying that game. And I think that's mostly it. Also Ghost, but I've been talking about that one quite enough. Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I will hand that over to Chase, who is going to be the star of this episode with how much he has told me he has been playing. So let's hear it, baby.
Before you left or during, I'm not sure. I think it was the last time that we were recording. We had talked about that we will probably need a smaller game for good games to talk about because you will not have played that many games, but I will have played an unfortunate amount of video games.
Because we knew there were 2 games coming out while I was
Yeah.
gone.
And between the time that we last recorded.
And between the time that we last recorded, that Chase was going to devour, truly.
Yeah, which did come true. So.
Not surprised.
Yeah, so we have a bit of a shorter segment for the good game section. But yeah, so if you when you're like listening to Video Game Podtimism and you're like, whenever Chase starts talking about all the video games he's been playing, I kind of just skip ahead. This episode, you can just go ahead and probably move on.
This is that episode.
Yes,
the episode.
I
that
apologize.
episode.
So I've been playing video games, David.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The first one, it's Gran Turismo 7, David.
Ooh, that did come out.
Yes, it did come out. So this is the latest entry in the Gran Turismo series, which is pretty old at this point.
Mm-hmm. Is it still Polyphony?
It is, yeah. Same company or same development team.
Uh-huh.
Well, at least in name. I don't know if any of the people who have been working there for very long are the same people, but regardless, it is still the same company. Gran Turismo has been coming out on PlayStation consoles since like the OG PlayStation. So this is like a very long running series, a racing game.
Mm-hmm.
And it has always been interested in the simulation of racing. I think at the time and since that there's a lot of arcade racing games, but very few of them have been interested in like making it feel real in a certain sense. But I think Gran Turismo always was. Once you start getting up to like Project Gotham and Forza Motorsport, like there are other competitors to that series.
Mm-hmm.
But Gran Turismo has been doing its thing for quite some time.
It's the OG.
It's the OG. It's been doing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. I do think that Forza Motorsport definitely had a broader base of appeal for a little while. I think it does a better job marketing itself. And I think the user experience of that game is a little bit less.
The brake lines, the turn lines.
The turn lines, which to GT's credit, they have included in this game.
Oh.
That there are like...
Oh, really? Okay.
They do it a little bit differently so for context, in Forza Motorsport, there is a line that you can follow on the track, which is usually guiding to you towards like where is best to be positioned in any given race. And then it is also color coded such that if it's red, you should be braking. And if it's like green or whatever, it's fine. You don't really need to be doing anything. And it, fluctuates between those two. Mm-hmm. Gran Turismo has the driving line where it's like, you should be here if you want to like make this turn really well. And then there are big like red blocks that show up on the track, like digital blocks just on the ground that are like, you should be braking in this part of the turn, or like you should start slowing down here. Mm-hmm. And then once you come to a slow enough speed, they sort of like back off and disappear. So they have like a similar implementation to help the player along. And in like typical fashion, you can turn those on and off. So it doesn't really matter. When we were talking about Horizon, I had mentioned that our Forza Horizon, the game that came out late last year, mm-hmm. I had talked about the fact that I like the simulation racing games a little bit more, I think, than the like over the top wild racing games. Yeah. That isn't to say I don't like them. Forza Horizon whips. And
sure
like
does.
I love Need for Speed and I love Burnout. Like all those games are really, really good and I've enjoyed all of them. But I think the games that I stick around with are Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo, which, full disclosure, has very little to do with cars. I don't really care about cars that much. Like, I'm not a car guy. I don't know how any of this shit works. Uh-huh. Like, I know what a Bugatti is, but like, I'm not like paying attention to races.
That's an expensive car. That's all I know.
That's a big, expensive car. And so my main exposure to them is through these video games. And I think what I usually end up appreciating about these games that are the simulation is that it feels very similar to how I drive a real car. Mm. Like it feels very similar. When I'm racing around in a 2005 Honda Element in Gran Turismo, it feels like the Honda Element that I drive.
Do you have it? Is there a 2005 Honda Element?
I haven't unlocked it in this one, but in Gran Turismo's past, I'm pretty sure there was a Honda Element in these games.
Nice.
And so like it is fun for the sheer fact of like, this feels like real life and therefore is thrilling in a certain sense to me. Mm-hmm. And not to mention, like, I like the part of Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport, to be fair, where you are driving pretty shitty cars in the beginning. Like, yeah. Forza Horizon hurls you into like the fastest car you are going to drive in the game, among one of the fastest cars in the first like 10 minutes.
Real quick.
It's like, just get in this fucking thing. Let's have fun. Mm-hmm. Gran Turismo gives you a Honda Fit and is like, you need to go make some money. You should go do some races now.
You're going to get the Fit and you're going to like it.
Yeah. You had choices between 3 other similar compact cars. So like,
What were the other choices?
Racing cars that I don't think I had heard of. The Honda Fit was the only one that I was like
some Euro cars or something.
Exactly, yeah. I really enjoy that part of it because you're working with very little, and you really do have to like understand how to drive these pretty regular cars to make them work for you. And I really like that part of the game.
Sure.
Something about driving those, making enough money to get a marginally better car and just sort of like continue up these racing things. It's progression, right? Like I like that.
You sound like a ding boy who's into BDSM or something right now. You know, I don't want this to be easy.
I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be kind of a challenge.
Drip feed me these dings. Come on.
And so yes, I do enjoy that scale of progression, not to mention like I just enjoy the mechanics. I like the driving in these games. It feels fun, it feels good.
Yeah.
And not in a way that is engaging, say something like Elden Ring, where I have to be like very, very attentive to the video game.
What a pitch drop right there for Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's coming. Where I need to be incredibly attentive to everything that is going on in Elden Ring. In Gran Turismo, I can kind of just like do it. Like it's that's probably not the case for like if somebody has never picked up a racing game, but all these games share a certain amount of mechanics because they're based on real world physics. And so like after a certain point, you're just like, I know how this game is going to play.
Yeah. Like I drive cars. I know how to do
I drive. I've done this. I've done this in other games and like I drive cars. So like that's good enough for this. And so you can kind of just like relax in a certain sense and enjoy the mechanics of this.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying this game quite a bit. I've been looking at the differences between this and Horizon a lot. I think it's just because Horizon's the last.
They're very interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, because they're both concerned with racing, and I think Horizon skews a little bit more towards like simulation than just a straight up arcade racing game does.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that you do have to brake and stuff like that. It's not like
it's an arcadey sim.
Yes, like it is definitely not real to life, but like it's closer than Burnout or something.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're not in totally different spaces, but like the approach to making cars interesting is like night and day. Like I was saying, Horizon hurls you in 4 different cars in under 10 minutes in the intro like level where you're like, okay, you're dropping out of a plane. You're in this insanely fast car. Now you're racing in dunes with a big old Jeep. And now you're in like this tiny little compact, like classic car that you need to ride around in. And like, it is just hurling things at you. Like, please, we want you to have fun so bad.
Yeah.
And like cars are sort of the backdrop to just fun. Like fun is the thing that they're excited about in Forza. And they just happen to be very passionate about cars. And so like, that's the medium that they're trying to do it in, right?
Cars are fun. Drive fast, drive on dunes, drive cool things. Have fun.
Yeah. And Gran Turismo opens. The first thing it does is it's like, hey, we want you to play our mini game. And so they put you into a weird like side mission kind of thing where you pick a track. You only have like a musical track. The only one you have available is a like box greatest hits like medley where it's like stringing together a bunch of Bach.
Johann
like,
Bach. Is that Johann Bach?
I think so. And you have to like race around the track and you go through like these little checkpoints that keep the song going. And so your job is to continue racing all the way through that. And it's just like pretty dry and like not that fun immediately.
whereas Forza is like EDM, Skrillex like type music. Yes. This is just Bach.
It's classical music, and like the way that Forza or Horizon like fades in and out the music and sort of like puts a lot of delay on it and like all that sort of like effect when you're like coming in or out or like just barely squirreling by
like
somebody.
The bullet
or anything.
Time of some like slow-mo stuff that does. Yeah. Yes.
Whereas this one is literally just, you know, like, okay. So I got through.
We expect you to be playing this in your library with a fine bottle of cognac.
That is not far away from the presentation of this game, David. Okay, so you get through that thing, and it's like, do you want to play another? I'm like, please just let me play the video game of Gran Turismo.
Please no, sir.
So you back out of that menu. A pop-up notification on the game pops up and says, you may now play Gran Turismo 7. Great.
That's
Thank
funny.
you. Thank you for letting me do so.
You are allowed now to play the game.
and I click, okay, let's do it. Let's boot into career mode because that's the funnest part for me. Then I think probably a 10-minute unskippable cutscene shows up that are the credits, and it takes you what appears to be the history of cars.
10 minutes for credits?
It's really long, David. I was just like, please, because I just want to race the car. It feels so lengthy. In reality, I'm sure it's like 5 minutes, but it felt like an
10
eternity.
minutes. I mean, you had to go through Bach to get there.
Yes, I was ready to race my Honda Fit, but they were not letting me. And like they're so focused on like just showing you this very well produced like kind of slideshow of like the history of cars, and this is when we figured out how to do the steering wheel, and here's when modern cars came in, like all that sort of stuff. And eventually you're able to finally boot into like the map, which you can go buy a used car and go to the cafe, which is a thing. The cafe is it in game essentially serves as the place where you can get missions kind of. And the missions are just like between races sort of stuff. It's like, we would like you to collect 3 classic Japanese compact cars.
The cafe. We give you missions with the cafe here.
It's like a literal place. Like they built this in the game where it's like this tiny little coffee shop with, I think it's a man named Luca who like is there. And it's just this little profile picture that pops up whenever you get there. His like prof picture pops up and he's like, hello, welcome to my cafe.
Oh, wow.
It's not voiced over. It's just like text, but that's how I imagine him saying
That's definitely the subtext there.
So anyway, point being, the game is really interested in you appreciating cars as the first mission. Like, listen, we're here for cars. We think cars are fucking cool, and you are going to like that. And that perhaps that's a little bit too aggressive, but like
it sounds very aggressive. It sounds like they're going to beat me if I don't like cars.
I think it's just that they're really interested in doing that. Like, for example, and this isn't exactly the same as the other ones, but once you finish a race, your default like selection, like what the thing that you can do next is watch replay. Like that is the thing that it pushes you towards doing. Once you're finished with a race, you have to like back out of it essentially. Like I would not like to be here anymore, and press circle and hit exit essentially. And so I think just in the sheer like where it's directing the users to go in the video game, it is interested in you stepping back from the game a little bit and like looking at the cars and appreciating the race and like being almost an observer of it, which I think is it's fun and interesting. But again, good God, it's just the complete opposite of Horizon.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy this weird sort of way that they're approaching cars because I kind of like the racing game. So like that part of it is fine for me. And like the campiness of like going to the mechanic and a profile picture of a mechanic shows up and he's like, hey, what can I do? Like that sort of stuff is so bizarre and fun that like I don't really mind it. But I think if somebody has come from Horizon and they're like, that's the only racing game I have ever played, and they're like, what about this Gran Turismo? I'm like, you should just play the last Horizon because this game is not the same at all.
Yeah.
And I suspect somebody could read this as like kind of dry and not as interesting. I don't know where I'd said this somewhere the other day, somebody talking about GT7. They were like, I'd said that Horizon manages to capture the thrill of racing a supercar without forcing you to really learn how to race a supercar in real life. Yeah. Like you kind of get an approximate appreciation of it, but they make it really fun. Yeah. GT7 captures the thrill of being a dad named Thomas who just like loves his Toyota Supra and like meets up with some fellas from work from time to time on the weekend.
Other superheads,
you know, they go and get coffee from like a place that serves like a pretty dark roast and talk about like their kids' soccer leagues, and then like, you know, kind of go putter around the tracks for a few hours.
Nice.
It's not the same game, right?
Yeah.
Like the pictures that they're painting are very different.
Yeah. Gran Turismo's aiming for like gearheads, car enthusiasts, whereas Horizon's more just like people who want to go fast.
Yeah,
and do cool stuff.
I personally have no problem with either of those.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I like racing games, but I could totally see how like that would not appeal to a lot of people, whereas Horizon's approach would appeal to a lot of people. But I sure do like Gran Turismo. It's fun.
Good. You having fun with your Honda Fit?
I love my Honda Fit. It's very good. Oh, I just bought a Mini Cooper, which I'm very excited about. Been tricking it out, making it go real fast.
Hell yeah. In
real life, they're very susceptible to braking, so I'm glad that I don't have to actually buy one to enjoy this car.
There you go. They're not reliable cars, huh?
Not from what I understand.
That's a bummer.
Last note on this game is that the soundtrack is so bizarre. The menu music, perfect. Just absolutely incredible. like kind of like some jazzy stuff going on in the background, like very, very good, like nice, chill cafe music, right? Like
Sure.
it's incredible, like so much good stuff. And every time they boot you into a race, it is like the weirdest 2022 version of a band that like really like Disturbed when they were growing up.
Oh.
Or like was super into Breaking Benjamin when they were younger.
No.
Like very, very weird. Like
That's a strange.
it's such a strange pull.
change.
I don't know why. Yeah, why? I would be so cool if they just kept the jazz music from menus in the game, but you can't do that. So I turned the racing music off because I was like, it's honestly
just straight off.
Nah, dude, it's not worth it.
Oh man, that's bad.
It like totally defies the vibe that they're putting out for the entire rest of the game. It would be as if like when you're playing Oblivion, during some of the dungeons, like an Avenged Sevenfold song comes on. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Hail and well met. Have you been to Bat Country?
Bat Country. There you go. That was one I was thinking of. Oh my god,
Yeah.
what a song.
Yeah.
That was on Guitar Hero, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
It was.
Anyway, so weird bit of the game.
Gran Turismo.
The next game that I've been playing, David, it's called Horizon Forbidden West.
The Forbidden West.
The Forbidden West. Did you play Zero Dawn? I don't remember if we talked about that.
I played Zero Dawn. That's a great game.
It was very good. I liked it too. So for context, Horizon Zero Dawn was an open world game that came out in 2017, and it focused on a character named Aloy, and it was set in this like post-apocalyptic world where like the world had already ended and people have started living again in these sort of small tribes scattered across what would be the United States. And I really liked that game. It also came out the same year that Breath of the Wild came out, which was a very different approach to open world games.
Yeah.
And there's contention in which one of these like approaches to open world games are better, quote unquote. I don't think that you can put that label on either of them. On like, you know, whether or not this approach is better or Breath of the Wild is better. I will say that like Breath of the Wild for me is more engaging in certain ways than Horizon Zero Dawn was. But Horizon also had a really, really fun story that I really liked. It was very sci-fi, and like the pacing of it was pretty fun to the point where like you really got pulled along.
Yeah, I love the sci-fi-ness of the story.
Yeah, it took some turns that I was like very, very interested in. It felt like towards the end of it felt like a really, really well produced like movie or book or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like, damn,
it kept
this
you
is
guessing.
good stuff.
Kept you guessing.
Yeah, and so I think that games like Ghost of Tsushima like carry on the design ideology that Horizon Zero Dawn sort of nailed, where the world is beautiful and the characters are interesting and it's very pretty, but it is sort of adhering to these design principles that like Ubisoft games often did back in the day, right? Like you'll hear it called like the Assassin's Creed model, where there's a lot of shit on the map, and oftentimes your job is to go from one waypoint to the next and just like do shit at them.
Climb a big tower every now and then, fill in more of your mini map.
And I know that really doesn't jive for some people. I don't really mind that. I think that both are totally valid approaches to doing this. And I do sort of get the sense that games with a desire to tell a story from one like point A to point B are going to be interested in doing that kind of world building where it's like kind of direct and there are story beats and explicit places that you will need to go to continue the story. And so for Horizon Zero Dawn, I think that made a lot of sense because their story was pretty solid. Anyway, Horizon Forbidden West comes out, I think like, well, we're recording this like 2 or 3 weeks ago on the heels of Elden Ring coming out, which is another kind of Breath of the Wild inspired open world game.
Sure.
And so like those two have just been like bouncing back and forth between my head while playing this. I like this game. It is very much just Horizon 2. It is like, hey, you liked the first one, here's more. It's a lot of firing on similar cylinders. I think that those things still work for me. Like the story is still engaging. I think Aloy is like a pretty cool character. And like I love like sort of wandering through the world and just like watching how she interacts with shit and like the people that she runs into. Yeah. The fucking graphical fidelity in this game is just like outstanding. Specifically the facial animations are like shocking.
Sure.
Like, and so many people have like just wildly in-depth facial animations, like merchants that you run into. I'll be like, that's a guy. That's like a real guy.
That's a man.
So like that part of it is like very, very fun just to be like, what actually is this person's story? Because they look so real and they're voice acted very well. So like, I'm interested in what their deal is.
Sure. Do they all have deals? Are their backgrounds as interesting as their facial animations?
A lot of the time, yes.
Cool.
And maybe like their characters aren't like super rounded, but I'm just kind of, I like the characters. I think the earliest example of that is you get to one of the Chain Scrapes, is that the name of the town? It's like a fairly Western town in the very beginning. And there is a cook that's working in this town. And like, he is kind of under the thumb of the person who has taken over this town. The person who's taken over, he's like got a bunch of like goons that are helping him maintain power for a little while.
Sure.
And like, nobody really has like the authority to say like, no, you're not in charge anymore. But anyway, this cook is like, you know, these guys treat me like shit. They always come in and like, you know, make me give them free food. And like, I'm just really into cooking. Like, I just would love to make like a really good dish, but I don't have the stuff, right? Like, I need the stuff. And like, sends you on a quest to go get some shit, right? Like, you need like a cast iron skillet or something, right?
Sure.
Like, it's very video games, but like just the way that it's so well acted, and I'm so like involved in this person's story because the facial animations are outstanding. The voice acting is incredible. So like, I'm just sort of drawn into it in that way. I do get what people say when they say that these kinds of games are a little tiring because you can just go from one waypoint to the next. And like, at a certain point that becomes a little less weighty. And I think you were talking about that a little bit with Ghost of Tsushima, right? Where you got to the second island and it's like, I don't care about some of this stuff.
Yeah, it was like the story hit a lull. It was all building to that big scene at the end of the first act, and then it was had to build back up again. It was like a feast for crows, you know?
Yes, David, I do know actually.
That's one's for all my George R. R. Martin heads out there.
George heads. You'll actually be able to call him out in a second here.
I sure will.
Anyway, so I understand that complaint, right? Because so many of those stories from one to the next, at the points where you're looking at a cutscene and like hearing about these people and looking at the dialogue and sort of enjoying that part, it's outstanding. And then when you go and like have to just go collect a cast iron skillet, it's like, okay, like,
yeah,
that part of it can lose some meaning because the parts that are interesting or that are very interesting to me sort of drop out, right? That's not to say the combat is bad. It's not bad at all. It's very fun, but the sense of discovery isn't quite as heavy.
Sure.
So point being that I don't want to wade super far into the like back and forth that people are comparing these games against, this and Elden Ring, because I truly think that they're very, very different games. Like,
yeah,
they're doing different stuff, and I don't think comparing them directly to one another just because they're both quote unquote open worlds is fair even. It just so happened that they came out at similar times. So like, it seems pretty silly to compare those two. I will say that the story is really fun so far. Like, there is a major plot beat that happens probably like, I don't know, 6-7 hours into the game. That is like, okay, this changes what I know about this world again.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
And like that stuff in Horizon, I think is really good. I worry that like, I hope that this is, if not the last Horizon game, one of the last ones. Because I don't know how many times you can pull that trick. Like, I think that is the trick with the first one of like, whoa, this world is bigger than I thought it was. Or the implications of this place are really different than what I thought it was before. And they managed to do it here too, where it's like, oh shit, I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah.
That works for a couple of games, but I worry about how long they can do that for. But you know, that's a conversation for further down the road. I think that like, it reminds me, for whatever reason, I've been playing this and thinking about the conversation we had about Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade, and like how that game is also like graphically incredible and like feels kind of similar, where like the combat in that game is good, but it's not necessarily what you're coming to Hellblade for.
No, not at all.
And so like, I think that games like Hellblade are taking what is good about a lot of these games like Assassin's Creed or like Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West, where it is rooted in these characters that you're rooting for and you want to get to know and like see what their deal is in this incredibly lush and beautiful world. But Hellblade does a really cool thing where it's not very long.
Yeah.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. And so you get to enjoy like these very cool plot beats and very fun stuff. And it does the building that, you experience in Ghost of Tsushima and Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn without really any of the chaff, right? Like any of the stuff that is a little bit slower.
Yep.
I don't think that's better necessarily, but it leads to a really enjoyable experience. Like Hellblade is such an incredible game.
Yeah. It's short and sweet. Very, very sweet. Great game.
So anyway, I'm still enjoying this game. It's incredible. Like it's very good. The world is really beautiful. I will say the opening credits are just like picturesque, like so goddamn good.
Ooh. All right.
They just like they play some music over Aloy riding like a mechanical beast through like different
beast
through different vistas, and it's just like striking. I was like, damn, this game is pretty and good, and like the direction is really good. They do a lot with like weather effects and mist and fog.
I love
in this game. It's great.
I love a good weather effect.
This is sort of a weird take I've seen online. People said that Aloy is like kind of mean in this game.
Really?
And yeah, she just seems stressed out to me. Like she has an important mission, and that like she can't easily prove to other people that is what is going on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying not to spoil the first one, but like she has a significant amount of information that the people living in this world don't, and like doesn't really have the ability to just show them like, here you go, here's why it's not that way.
Gotcha.
And so she just seems like stressed out that she like kind of has to do this on her own. I'm not going to say like the people around her are dumber, but like they're certainly not firing on the same level of information that she is.
It's how the vaccine researchers have been feeling for the past 2 years.
Oh God. Yeah, that's true. Just like, come on, you guys. I've got some evidence.
I've got some real hard evidence here.
Anyway, I think Aloy is pretty fun. I think she's like a cool character that doesn't. I like that she doesn't have to be nice.
Yeah, why does she have to be nice?
Yeah, like Geralt is kind of a dick in a lot of The Witcher. Like
it's true.
He's kind of standoffish and like not a very nice guy. And like there's stuff he does that's nice, but a lot of the time he's kind of just a douche to like most of the people that he meets.
Hey, I'm Geralt the douche.
It's my favorite.
You got any monsters to kill?
It's my favorite AM radio host, Geralt the douche.
Geralt the douche.
I have also been playing. It's Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Oh my gosh.
So here's the other side of this coin.
George R.R. Martin fans,
rejoice.
This is it. This is it, everybody.
Come. I would love to know what part of this game George did, because from the outside looking in, I have no idea.
He made like the structure for the lore and the story.
It all seems pretty FromSofty, to be honest. Like,
sure.
If you told me George didn't write a word about this story, I'd say, yeah, that's fine. That checks out. Like,
fair enough.
His personal brand is nowhere near this, other than there being a sword that kind of looks like the Iron Throne, which is cool.
That's cool.
Okay, so Elden Ring, contextually, is the latest FromSoft video game. FromSoft being the folks who did all of those hard games we love to love. Your Dark Souls, your Bloodborns, your Demon Souls, your Sekiros, and your Armored Cores. People forget about our Armored Core.
Don't sleep on Armored Core, baby.
They did that too. And this is their latest iteration. I think for a long time, the marketing around this game has been like, yo, Elden Ring's going open world. How are they going to do it? I think there is a lot of trepidation about that.
Yeah.
Because like, I think something that FromSoft does very well is they're like very dense and well designed worlds. And so it was a little scary to say like, okay, y'all have made some very good video games. So like, I don't not trust you, but I am a little frightened that you'll put up a stinker.
I'm scared for you.
Yes. But also at the same time, I was like, I have not played a FromSoft game that I haven't liked. I'll buy this one. I'll give it a try. And the reviews have mostly been like overwhelmingly praising of this game. So I was like, all right, well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
It's good. The game is good. Shocking.
Yeah.
So let's see what to say about it. It is true that it is an open world. You do your pretty typical Dark Souls stuff where you make your character, you get some very vague lore about the world. You get told about some bosses that you're gonna have to fight. Stinker, the big strong boy. And then it shows you a picture of Stinker.
Stinker, the big strong boy?
Yeah.
That sounds like what you'd call your cat or something.
Yeah, Stinker, the big strong boy. He's got a helmet. So, yeah, you get that. You run down a hallway to a boss that is intended to kill you. They indeed kill you. And then you start the game in earnest. It kicks you out into the opening area, which is like this place called Limgrave, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you only have a little bit of the map. And it's pretty, like, you don't get a lot initially, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, okay, I guess I'm going to go, like, find something. Somebody gives you, like, the initial direction of, like, you should go to the castle. And you can kind of see it in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, well, I guess I'll just go that direction. That seems fair.
Yeah.
And if you go straight down on the path that is laid out for you, there's this thing called the Tree Sentinel, which will also kick your whole ass if you try and fight it.
Uh-oh.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm intended. I need to run around this guy.
Yeah.
Which is the game very well teaching you a new lesson about this game in that you don't need to fight this guy right now. You can come back. Like, this guy's way too strong for you. You do not need to fight this guy, which is what you can do. And you will more than likely end up in a place that is much easier to fight enemies at. And so it kind of confirms your suspicion of like...
So I'm definitely going to be able to find a YouTube video of some streamer beating that character.
Absolutely.
In the first level, though, right?
Yes. I saw one today.
Like an hour or something.
There's an item in this game called the Mimic Tier, and you can upgrade it, and it essentially summons a copy of yourself that goes and fights for you.
Whoa, cool.
I saw somebody doing New Game Plus with a fully upgraded Mimic Tier, and he summoned that thing, and it went and kicked that boss's ass without him even doing anything. So, like, yes, there are streamers who are already just owning this guy.
You thought you were teaching me a lesson? Let me teach you a lesson, fucker.
I got something to tell you. Yeah, the way that the game plays out is that you have sort of these like vague ideas about where you need to be going at any given point.
Mm-hmm.
And more than likely what will happen is that you will just kind of see something on the map that you're like, that looks cool. I wonder what's over there.
Uh-huh.
And then you go ride over there on your horse named Torrent.
Cool.
And there's sometimes there is something and sometimes there's not. Like the world is not always as rewarding as Breath of the Wild was as far as like there's something under every rock. Like,
classic FromSoft.
sometimes it's just a building and like you can't go in.
We're closed. Sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes it is a dungeon, which is cool, and sometimes it's like a bundle of terrifying like terror snakes that are like throwing up acid next to you or something.
Jesus.
Like, it's in the way that Breath of the Wild rewarded you with like, hi, it's a Korok seed. Like, yay. This one's like, hello, it's a horrifying demon that like hasn't seen the light of day in 1,000 years.
It's an eldritch horror.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the visage of Chet the Rat.
If Chet the Rat was a Dark Souls boss, what would his like moniker be? Because they always have the like suffix.
Chet the Rat.
Yeah, got it in one. Perfect.
Chet, the Rat.
Perfect. Yeah, we got it. The rat is a description of his characteristics, not his corporeal form. Although he does have a rat's face. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that like I was saying with the Horizon thing, this game takes a very different approach to open world games where you have very little as far as where to go or what to do. And the game just sort of like kicks you out into the open world. And it's like, go hang out, go do some shit. You'll find the main quest eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to a very cool sense that I don't think you get in the other like kind of open world games where discovery and your curiosity is oftentimes your most useful tool when trying to figure out what to do. Because usually there's something, right? Like usually if you look at the map, there's some shit you can go do and usually it's pretty fun. So yeah, I think that they have like nailed that part of it. I think the concerns about them going from open world or non-open world to open world, or you do not have to be scared. It is still a very good video game. Not to mention they have these sections of the world that are called like legacy dungeons that function much more like a normal Dark Souls level.
Sure.
Like, you know, you'll enter into a castle and it's structured like a Dark Souls level where there's like a couple of branching paths here and there. But, you know, the boss lives in a part of this castle and you just have to get to it. And there's a bunch of bonfires between you and that fight.
Gotcha.
And so that it still exists in this game. It just so happens that you can also go outside of the castle and go like wander around in the world. So that part's great.
Cool.
The combat is still as good as it ever is. Like I think it feels the most similar to just a regular Dark Souls game. Like it doesn't feel quite as frenetic as Bloodborne. It's not nearly as unforgiving as Sekiro was. Like Sekiro gives you fucking nothing. It's like, here's your sword, dude. Go beat the boss.
This is nothing and you'll like it. You'll thank me for it.
Yes. And it was a good game. I love Sekiro, but it definitely had had an opinion about how you should play that game. Whereas this one plays a lot more Dark Soulsy in that there are many different ways to do combat here. I am playing a strength build, obviously.
Unga Bunga build?
Unga Bunga build, big sword go clang build. I always love strength builds. They're always so much fun for me. It ends up usually being kind of a difficult route because you are not as light as like the thief or something that's using a bunch of daggers. You can't roll quite as fast as that.
Yeah.
And you really shouldn't be like equipping so much equipment that you can't roll very quickly.
Yeah.
There's in most of the Dark Souls games, and this one calls it out, or the FromSoft games, and this one calls it out explicitly, there are typically like 3 weights that you can achieve, either light, medium, or heavy. And that'll depend on just your equipment. So like if you're using a dagger and wearing nothing, you are almost certainly a light build.
Yeah.
Which is why you see people online saying like, don't wear armor. It's much easier if you don't wear armor.
Naked dagger boy?
Exactly. Because you can dive and dodge and dip and duck very, very easily.
So it's Rip Torn is the one who's putting all of those online. Patches O'Houlihan, right? That's his name.
Oh, damn. Patches O'Houlihan's a really, really marketable name.
That's a strong name. That's probably who summoned Chet the Rat. That sounds like something Patches O'Houlihan would do.
Yeah, it is typically kind of a challenging build to use because you do have to be pretty good at dodging, and also like they're the sword attacks or the axe attacks that you have to hit and then put your actual hit away on layaway. Like it takes so long for you to swing your sword.
The bunga sword.
Like, your big bunga club, man. Like your caveman club.
Bunga club. I definitely would want to go to the bunga club for a party.
I would like to go to the bunga club.
Sounds fun.
It's just the Flintstones. That's just what it is.
Sure.
But it is really fun because the weapons that you get to use are just absolutely ridiculous and so much fun. I found like in the early game, I was like, oh yeah, I love these huge swords. All these like gigantic, like fuck a shield. I'm not using shield. I'm just going to two-hand
fuck a shield.
Everything.
Don't even talk to me about a shield.
Because it's too heavy. I can't use it and then also use my big sword.
Sure.
However, I did run into the weapon that I have been using for the whole game.
Oh.
Which is an anchor.
An anchor, straight up just an anchor.
Just a big old anchor.
God.
It is faster than you would expect it to be. Like you can bring the anchor down pretty fast.
All right.
And I've been upgrading it throughout the entire playthrough, and I have yet to find another weapon that outdoes it as far as damage goes. So like I'm just rolling with the anchor.
Do you have a nautical themed finishing line that you say whenever you kill somebody with it? Like, we're just pulling into port, and then just knock them to silly.
You're the poop deck now.
You're the poop deck now. I love it. I love it.
Which is very fun because you're fighting just like otherworldly hellish monsters with this big anchor. And it's very good. I beat Astel, Natural Born of the Void, last night.
Oh, God, that's cool.
With my big anchor, which felt very good.
My big anchor. That's great.
God, some of the boss design in this game is just like picturesque from soft boss design.
Really?
Like, God damn, some of it is so good.
Oh, I love the bosses.
Astel, Natural Born of the Void. I'll cut this out, but he is a...
These fuckers are so good.
I know. I don't know how they keep doing it. Like they keep coming up with just incredible fights. There's a fight that's a main boss that gives me very big Rom the Vacuous Spider vibes, which like very good.
Okay.
Love that.
Nice.
So yeah, like I think this game feels very FromSofty. It is absolutely a FromSoft game in every way possible, which is great. Like I'm really glad that they managed to stick this landing. It's funny because I know that a lot of the FromSoft and Miyazaki specifically has said like we took a lot from Zelda. Like Zelda is one of our biggest influences.
Breath of the Wild? Or just Zelda in general?
Just Zelda in general. Because like when Demon Souls was coming out, like, you know, Breath of the Wild wasn't even close to being out.
Sure.
And so like I know that they base a lot of their design around that. And it really shows. Like you can see it in a lot of these games. Like I think there's, you know, the structure of the world makes a lot of sense. This like very vague characterization of the world. There is a ridiculousness that is found in both Zelda and Dark Souls. Like, and so like it's funny to see like that arc of them being super influenced by that. I think Breath of the Wild in turn was influenced by Dark Souls in sort of sparse world building that they did, this like very open approach to open world games. And then in turn, again, Elden Ring is influenced by Breath of the Wild, or at least, you know, taking some of the similar lessons that they learned in that game and applying them here. And so it's outstanding. Like it's a really, really good video game. I think it does a really good job of just allowing you to follow whatever curiosity you want, kind of going through it that way. It is still, I will say, incredibly difficult. So, like, if you weren't a fan of other FromSoft games, you may not be a fan of this one.
Yeah.
I see people saying that, like, well, because it's an open world game, you don't always have to fight the bosses that are in front of you, right? Like, you can go somewhere else, you can grind on easier enemies, and that can act as your like difficulty slider, right? Like you can go and level up and get better and yada, yada, yada. I get that. And I agree that like whenever I'm having a hard time with a boss, I'll just go somewhere else. Like there's plenty of other shit to do.
Yeah.
But you still got to be good at this fucking game. Like it's still hard. Like,
yeah.
It's not like you can run in there and not dodge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you're going from a very hard fight to a hard fight, no matter where you're going.
Right. And I think the way that you can truly make it a lot easier is to go and like play as a magic user in this game, which from my understanding is a lot easier than just like hitting. And so I think like I wish, and this is going against a lot of FromSoft tenants, I wish they were a little bit more explicit with that, because like I wish somebody who was like, this game seems really cool, but I would like to kind of just like walk through it. Like you could probably just use a magic user. It's very easy to just like cheese bosses and kill them.
Really?
If you're just like firing spells off. Yeah. I think the magic user in this game is like probably the best it's ever been as far as like how strong you can get.
Sure.
And so it's good in that way. So, you know, your difficulty will probably come from what build you end up using, but I think a lot of people will just be like, that sword looks cool. I'll put more into strength or dex or something. I also like will say that I think for my money, I prefer the kinds of worlds that FromSoft does that are dense in the way that like the rest of their games are.
Sure.
I that's not to say the open world is better or worse. Like I think they both offer very different stuff. Like you don't have the sense of discovery in those games that you do in this one. It's very fun and very vast. The world is
vacuous,
shockingly vacuous. No, just big.
Bad.
Like
yeah.
the game drops you into Limgrave, and I was like, oh, this map isn't that big. Is this like the whole game? And like I was so deeply wrong about how small, like how big the world is. Like it is fucking gigantic. In a way that I was not expecting, taking some clues from Hollow Knight, but I'll leave it at that. But I think I usually enjoy the worlds that are more densely populated, but at the same time, like I said, you would be leaving behind all the cool shit that gets to get done in the open world. And so I think at the end of the day, your enjoyment of this will come down to whether or not you really come to a game for the sense of discovery and exploration, as compared to, I would like to be challenged by this game and move forward and enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think this game offers something that other FromSoft games have not thus far. And that's a good thing. Like, that's very cool. You can pull in more people, and I think there's a lot more to enjoy there. I think I just happen to be playing this game as if it were a Dark Souls game. And I think that may not be the right approach. I think I need to like probably take a step back, maybe roll a magic user and just like wander around the world and enjoy myself. Whereas I'm like, I gotta go fucking find somebody to fight with my big anchor. Like, so
old Anky is hungry.
Old Anky. I love that. The old stanky Anky.
Oh, I'm gonna give that man the old stanky Anky.
Jesus.
Gonna give him the stankle.
I'm gonna give him the stankle. That's where you hit somebody with an anchor in their ankle.
In their ankle. Yep. The stanky Anky in the Anky. Right?
Yes.
Those are words.
I agree. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Elden Ring.
Hell yeah.
I am 50 hours into this game right now.
50?
It's
my goodness.
I have played an extreme amount of Elden Ring.
Are you so close to being done?
I'm getting there. I think I'm scratching towards the surface of being closer to done with this game, but like there's still a lot on the map that I have not seen.
Oh my goodness.
Was it last week Emily Alice went out of town between Wednesday and Saturday?
Oh, so it was just
it was Elden time, my friend.
Full bore.
Yeah. So
I hear you.
I've put in quite a few hours into this game. And so maybe that alone is an endorsement of which game I'm enjoying more because I have been all my minor gripes aside about this game, I have been absolutely unable to put it away. Like, just cannot stop playing this video game. All I want to do is play Elden Ring.
Keep going.
Yeah. So like, that's certainly an endorsement. I have also been playing.
Yeah. Last one, right?
No.
I think you said 4.
I didn't count correctly.
Oh boy, okay.
I've also been playing Pixel Puzzle Makeout League, David.
Pixel Puzzle Makeout League? Are you
Yes.
playing a dating sim? A puzzle dating sim?
I'm playing a Picross?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
A Picross dating sim, David.
Wow.
This came as a friend of the show, Kim, had said, hey, I'm playing this game on one of the Discords that I lurk in. And I was like, we're friends on Switch too. And I was like, what is that video game? Because I had literally never heard of it. And the name of it alone is outrageous.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this game? And then she chimed in there at some point and said like, hey, this game is fucking nuts. And I was like, okay. I had never played a Picross game. I didn't really know what it was.
I have no idea what those games are.
It's surprisingly simple. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than it is, but it's not that complicated. Picross is essentially like, I don't want to say dumbed down, but like maybe an easier version of Sudoku. At its most basic form, Picross is like, you can imagine a 5x5 grid, and there's cells in each one of those. And at the top, on the top row and the side column, there are numbers on each of those like rows and columns, right? Those numbers denote how many of the cells in that row are filled and how many are not. So like if there's a 3 on the top row going down, or the top column going down, then there will be 3 boxes that are filled in that column.
Sure.
And then on the row, it'll say 1, right? And so you're like, okay, there is 1 in here. And so your job is to sort of like fill out what you can and can't like glean from each one of these little bits of information until you fill out the whole thing, right? Like, and so it's
like Sudoku without numbers.
Exactly. Yes. It's just like which of these cells are filled in this grid.
Gotcha.
And they give you clues as to how to do that. There's like a few little wrinkles in the rules, but like by and large, that's it. And so you can imagine like that gets more complicated the bigger the grid you use or the harder the puzzles are. Like some of them, it'll be a 15 by 15 grid, but half of the rows are all 0 or all 15. So it's like, well, that's easy. I can sort of like figure that out.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. And so it's deeply ding boyish. I'm going to say up front, like that sort of puzzle is just like, I gotta figure it out. I gotta fix this problem. So that's really fun.
Yeah.
But the backdrop of this game is bananas. You are playing as Pixel Girl, is a part of this group of quote unquote heroes who make up this like puzzle league that they're a part of. It's like the bootlegist Avengers.
Bootlegist Avengers.
It's like you, a person named Chess. There's a person named Sudoku, a person named Crossword, and a gigantic puzzle piece named Pycia.
Pycia.
She's like a, well, I guess
Pycia. She's a Pisces.
Yeah. I actually don't know when her birthday is, but she literally looks like a big jigsaw piece.
Yeah.
That like has big anime eyes and like blushes.
Whoa. She the ruler of the Makeout League?
No, at the beginning, nobody's really making out quite yet, but as you go through these levels, you will move farther in your relationship. So the game plays out, and but
these aren't people.
Most of them are people. Pycia is not a people.
Okay, most of them are people, but the giant puzzle piece is not a person.
She talks and like
she's anthropomorphized.
Yes. So you go through these levels, and the conceit of the game is that Pixel Girl solves her problems by doing pixel puzzles, the Picross. And so like whenever she runs into an issue, she'll like look at it and do a puzzle, and that'll like fix it for her. I'm unclear exactly how that plays out. If she's gonna throw a punch, if she does the puzzle before she does the punch, is the punch stronger? And like conceptually, she has this big story about how she got her like powers, and I don't know. She's just doing Picross. Like I don't know if that's a power or not.
That's her superpower.
Yeah, and like I've done a lot of Picross so far. I am currently pursuing Sudoku.
Oh,
because she's a big gamer girl.
Oh,
so like,
all right,
come on, she plays MMOs.
Whoa,
and yeah, so I'm going through the story, and there are some bananas implications happening in the story. It reminds me a lot of oh god, what was the game that we played for the dating sim?
Doki
Doki Literature Club. It reminds me a lot of that, where it's not nearly as heavy initially, but like, I mean, maybe it'll get there. I haven't beaten it yet, but there are implications going on in the background that are deeply unsettling. We're like, are we not gonna talk about that part of it? And they're all just like, let's go save the world again, I guess. And like, Pixel Girl seems moved by a lot of this, but then the next day she'll wake up and be like, I need to go talk to my new significant other or something like that. And so it's very bizarre. I am really looking forward to where the story goes, because like, it seems like it's barreling towards just some wild shit. And god, I'm thrilled about that.
All right.
I'm so excited about it becoming just unhinged and going absolutely bananas with the story.
Is it on Switch?
It's on Switch, yes.
Okay.
It's pretty cheap, and like, I really have enjoyed just the Picross, so like, for that alone, I'm like, all right, I like that. And it's exciting. I'm really enjoying this video game right now.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Known enjoyer of dating sims now.
I know. What a heel turn.
I know. Yeah, it's a very bizarre twist in the last year of gaming.
Or would that be a face turn if you go from disliking something to liking it?
I don't know if I ever disliked dating simulators. I just never really had gotten into one. And now I'm like, okay, there is some cool shit. For whatever reason, I think like dating simulators oftentimes have an ability to really do some shit with their story.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the juxtaposition between like cutesy, fun, like flirty stuff and like really heavy topics in the background is very shocking.
I guess because you don't have to do like as much as far as like asset creation. Like you can just do text boxes and like have your characters reacting to certain shit and like have a background around it. And so you can tackle just some insane things happening in the story, which, you know, personally, I love that. I love when it like a game is not committed to being just like what it appears on the cover.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm thrilled to finish this game because it looks incredible.
Hell yeah.
At least with my experience so far.
I'm interested. Sounds fun.
Oh, you should play it. You might like.
I like puzzles. I like puzzle games.
Very good before bed. Like, I'm just gonna do a couple rounds of Picross and like.
I'm definitely gonna pursue crossword. I love crossword puzzles.
Nice.
Let's hear it. The last game.
The last game. David.
All right, let's hear it.
It's UFC 4, as promised.
UFC 4. This one's for you, Drew.
This one's for you, Drew. Disclaimer at the top: I do not give a shit about UFC fighting.
Same.
I think it's a little bit of a bummer, in fact. I don't like watching people kick the ever-loving shit out of each other.
You're not a fan of Uriah Faber, the California kid, a homegrown product of Mission Avenue, open school?
Listen, Uriah, I got no beef with him because he's going to come to my house and beat me up if I say that I do. But I don't necessarily care for UFC. It's not my jam. However, I have enjoyed fighting games before, like the Fight Night games for Xbox. I thought were pretty good, like the boxing games. Just because the mechanics were like interesting, like controlling your arms with the sticks, I thought was fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like maybe I'll give this a try. I don't necessarily like care about UFC, but I like video games, and this seems like a cool video game. So I was like, well, to spice it up, I will have to create a character. So as you had alluded to before, I did create Wario in the career mode. Wario and you get to choose from a series of last names, and I didn't know Wario's canonical last name, and so I named him Weidman, Weidman, which could be Weidman or Weedman, depending on which depending on your pronunciation. And either one felt right, so I was like, yes, that's perfect for me.
Is there a Wario Weidman here? It's pronounced Weedman.
Weedman.
Substitutes, am I right?
So the career mode is shockingly in depth and has a pretty significant amount of like story beats that I'm really into, because like it opens up and it's like an interview with your coach who's walking through like how they discovered you, and it like flashes back to your first fight like in some parking lot where like it's like a bootleg UFC sort of situation, and you just get your ass kicked in the ring. And for me personally, watching Wario step into the ring with his purple boxing gloves was just something else. Like I really, really enjoyed this. And then proceeding to get recruited by this boxing coach and go to his boxing gym. Again, Wario going to this gym is like such a fun way to
Wario
experience
getting
this
big.
game. It's incredible. I chose to have him be a kickboxer because I made him as wide and short as I possibly could, and so his reach is not good at all. Like his punching strength is quite bad. But this man has fucking rocket kicks.
Rocket kicks.
Big, beefy thighs Wario has. He just like turns on the like jet fuel on his feet and like roundhouse kicks someone in the head.
Sure.
I turned the difficulty down as low as it would possibly go because I was like not as interested in being challenged by UFC as I was just turning Wario into a kicking machine.
I'm role-playing Wario here. Everybody get out of my way.
Which my experience with this game as a Wario roleplay has been absolutely lovely. Really, really good.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss, because like you can in easy mode, like your opponents go down easy. Like Wario has not gotten to the second round since being in the actual UFC.
How many KOs do you have?
All KOs. Every fight he has gotten in has resulted in a KO. He just walks in the ring and unleashes
people
a
just
flurry
hear
of
his
kicks.
big beefy thighs. Boom, boom. They just tap out immediately.
So like I think in the base game, you're supposed to sort of wear someone's stamina down on certain parts of their body, because it's like, you know, there's little like health bars associated with each like body part. It's like upper body, your legs, your head, arms, and shit like that. But because I'm on easy and because I've juiced up Wario's stats so fucking high, the damage that he does to someone's head is just immediately a problem for them. Like within 30 seconds, they are like, "Oh my god, dude, I cannot stand up
to
straight."
The head?
It's only to the head.
He's kicking people straight to the head. This little tiny Wario just
reaching for the skies with his fucking foot, man. I will every now and then throw out a body kick to distract them from the impending knockout kick that's coming towards their head. but
So these people walk into the ring against Wario, and he's already just kicking as high as he can, and just walking towards them. So he's more like a battle bot than a kickboxer.
Yeah, it's just one after the other, like just throwing up kicks every couple of seconds. You can unlock even more just like absolutely ridiculous moves too. Like he's got a jumping kick now where he like brings his foot over his head and down onto someone.
Oh my god!
Just a devastating blow.
You're just giving people concussions. You're giving people TBIs just over
honestly,
and over.
That is the implication. Like they are out for a lot of the season after the fights with Wario because he does he does such brutal damage to him.
Wario's got to deal with the local hospital. He's like, I can just send you some people, some business. Here you go.
Patients. So again, I barely grok the mechanics of this game. Between fights, you can do like training in the training gym.
Wario doesn't need to train.
That's part of the role play is that I try not to get him very healthy.
Yeah.
He walks into the fight with like severely lacking in cardio strength. So he's forced to try and stop the fight within one round.
He's like, I gotta get my legs pumping. I can't make it past 5 minutes.
And so the only training that I allow him to do is kick training, where he just goes in and like practice kicks with the other
only
people
will allow you to strengthen your kicks, Wario.
And so I didn't realize this, but whenever you knock somebody out, that like is marked as an injury. Like it's a season injury, and there's this poor dude who will show up to kick training every time that you do it.
Oh, God.
And for weeks on end, I was just knocking him out relentlessly. You're supposed to just like make it through the time. Like you're supposed to go 2 to 3 minutes. And that's the way to get training. But I would walk in there and just until he was knocked out. And I was like, day over, done.
That guy is the definition I ain't hear no bell. I'm coming back for you, Wario.
I can't imagine the dude who works there, and the coach is like, "Hey, I hate to say it, but you got to get back in the ring with Wario." Like, no, dude, I lost 3 teeth last time. You can't do this to me again.
I lost 3 teeth and 10 IQ points. I can't do this anymore, man.
I forgot algebra. You can't do this.
You literally kicked math out of my brain.
And so after that, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just slow down a little bit. And so the way that those trainings have been going on now is I'll deliver one devastatingly harsh kick, and sort of just wait for him to punch me while he recovers his stamina. Because Wario's like beefy, he doesn't take a lot of damage very easily.
Yeah.
And sort of just every minute or so deliver another brutal kick.
So now you're just playing with your food.
Yes, well, I don't want him to be injured because I do need to like train a little bit to get my kicks stronger.
God damn.
There was one training sesh where Wario took a bad kick himself from that same trainer and was injured for a couple of months, and I suspect that was probably a revenge kick if I had to quantify that one.
Oh, you bastard!
After getting knocked out for months.
Yeah.
The other thing of note that I wanted to bring up is that you can get sponsorships in this game.
Beats?
I did not get Beats. I was lucky enough to nail a sponsorship with the only place that Wario would like to get sponsored. And that is, of course, Freddy Spaghetti's. There is a...
Freddy Spaghetti's?
In the game, there's a restaurant called Freddy Spaghetti's, which you can do promotional advertising for.
Oh my God.
So every now and then, it's like you'll sign a contract to do their promos, and like Wario will just like go on Instagram and promote Freddy Spaghetti's before his fight. And
Eat Freddy Spaghetti's and you get thighs like me.
Big, strong kicks like me. Anyway, he's been offered other promotions and he will not take them. I'm not allowing him to do any other like bigger promotions.
I like how you say I'm not allowing him. Like he is a real thing, a real creature in this game, and you are just guiding him through his life.
I am coaching this kick monster, and I need him to know who's in charge. God, it's a really fun video game. I think if I had made Chast Rolby like in this game, like just a regular character, it would not have been as fun.
Yeah.
But man, it is fun with Wario and on easy difficulty and putting every point I have into kicks.
Just min-max to the max.
Yes. So he currently is undefeated other than the first round, or like the first fight.
Yeah.
All knockouts. So I'm really
that
really
fight
enjoying
changed him. Fight changed him.
It never went back.
Never went back.
I'm never going to lose again.
Wario.
Yeah, very good. I love Wario Weidman.
Wario Weidman, also known as Wario Weidman.
Also known as the Kick Terror.
The Kick Terror, the kicking terror of UFC 4. God damn, that's awesome.
Come down to your local ring this weekend to see the Kicking Terror. Knocked out 24 men cold.
We're back to this transatlantic talk now, huh?
Yeah, dude.
It's full circle.
Whew. This is a good one. I love this game. Anyway, David, this will all bring you my Podtimists thing of the week.
It's an hour and a half in. Here we go.
Yeah, baby. You know how it be.
Let's hear it.
It is the bundle for Ukraine on itch.io.
Oh, I saw that.
There is a gigantic video game bundle currently on itch.io that you can buy for $10 and support the fucked up situation that is currently ongoing in Ukraine. It's good. It goes to a good cause. They've raised a lot of money and you get a lot of video games. There's a significant amount of shit in this bundle.
What's in it? What games are in it? What's going on?
Let's see. Of note, like the biggest inclusions, I would say, Celeste is in there. That's insane. Celeste alone is worth at least $10, so like you can definitely kick in $10 for that.
Thirsty sword lesbians.
There are a lot of dating sims in this one. Skatebird, Backbone, Crosscode, those are all pretty big games. There's a lot of stuff. Fatum Batula, I love that game.
Did you play Liminal Horror?
I don't think so. There's a lot of shit in here. And so like, yeah, it's good stuff. There's a lot of tabletop stuff in here too. So like, it's good shit.
No, Baba is used in there.
Yeah, also a good game. God. Yeah, there's like 900 things in this bundle. So like,
damn.
If you're interested at all, it's really well worth it. Again, goes to a good cause, and it's a lot of shit in there. So that was feeling my Podtimistic thing. You should go buy this if you haven't already.
Visigoths versus Molgoths. That's awesome.
Anyway, yeah, that's my Podtimistic thing of the week, David. Have you got something fueling your sense of Podtimism, David?
I do, Chase.
What is it?
It is Nature's Bounty Brain HP Supplements.
Okay. Are you finally taking the heel turn to where you start pitching vitamins?
No, just Google this. These are supplements that are marketed towards gamers. They got a big old game controller on the front of them.
Wow,
and
they do.
Here's their pitch for it. Recharge your brain fast and improve your reaction time to elevate your game. Enter Brain HP to make you focus better in as little as 30 minutes. It's your advanced nootropic and vision stack for next level gaming performance, coming to you from Nature's Bounty, the experts in wellness supplements for nearly 50 years.
Yeah.
And so they have all these things on here, like helps improve reaction time and reduce errors while on task, support attention and focus. And one of them filters out blue light and supports visual perception.
What is going on with this supplement? What is in this?
Drugs, sugar also. Lots of sugar.
Yeah, that checks out.
So I just thought it was very funny. And Mallory called them magic gamer beans when she found them at the store because they're little watermelon flavored gummies, like little beans, like little beans. She's like, here, you need these. And I was like, no, I don't. Please don't buy those. I don't want those ever. Those are horrid.
The first ingredient is sugar. The second ingredient is glucose syrup. And the third ingredient is modified potato starch. It's just sugar, man. These are sugar pills.
Glucose, sugar, and then glucose syrup. That's like saying a guy like Superman and Clark Kent aren't the same person.
Those are
like,
two separate entities.
You just put glasses on. Same thing. That's the same thing.
Oh,
so it just tickled me. That's why it's my
I
don't know if it's my Podtimistic thing of the week, but it's my most noteworthy, funny video game thing I saw this week.
You can be feeling your sense of optimism. I think that counts.
It's just ridiculous. I was thinking it's funny that now they are selling video game supplements for aged gamers like us, so we can keep up with the little 12-year-olds, which is also why I find this funny.
I mean, they really should just be like selling it and calling it, gamer fuel or whatever, and it's just aspirin, like to make your joints not hurt quite as much.
Aspirin mixed with cocaine.
Wow. You heard it here first on Video Game Podtimism.
No more powerful drug.
No. Anyway,
don't mix aspirin and cocaine, everybody. Please don't.
It's a bad idea.
It's bad for you.
Anyway, we have a very tiny main thing today. Do you want to go do that real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just speed through it, right?
Speed through.
Lickety split.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. It's Good Games.
We're here.
Got a weird one today.
Yeah.
We did Metal Gear Solid last week, and only Metal Gear Solid. And we thought, what game could possibly follow up Metal Gear Solid 1?
What could follow up Snake but Snake?
Snake. We're doing Snake.
Nothing can follow Snake but Snake.
Snake.
It's Snake, the game on your phone.
It's Snake, the one you've played.
The one you've played.
We both recognize that, like, I was probably going to talk for like an hour just now. So like,
you talked for more than an hour, but yes.
Yes. I had many video games to talk about.
The passion was flowing through you.
Yeah. I played a lot of video games. So we just, last week we were like, you know what? You're going to be coming back from vacation. I'm going to be just finished unhinging my jaw and letting out all the video game thoughts. So why not just do something easy, something simple? Snake.
Coming from your cell phone circa 2000.
And before.
So,
yeah. I'll tell you about that.
All right, hot stats. I feel it coming.
It's coming. Here it is. Also, hold on. Did I say the name of the segment?
I think so. You said it's Good Games.
It's.
I don't think you did the whole thing though.
It's Good Games, the segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear, or the ones that just didn't get their moment in the sun. This one definitely got its moment in the sun.
Yeah.
But
it is definitely an okayest game of yesteryear.
Anyway, here's some hot stats for the video game Snake.
Hot stats.
The very first Snake-like was called
Snake-like.
Which is a cool new genre that I'm gonna invent.
All right, like a strand.
The first one was called.
Snake-like.
It's like a snake, The very first one of these games was called Blockade, which was an arcade game released in 1976.
Whoa!
And it was made by a company called Gremlin.
Oh my God. That's so intense.
I really like Gremlin as the name of a game development company. That is very, very powerful.
That's a good name for anything that's not a gremlin.
Yes.
Like a little pug could be gremlin.
Gremlin.
A bird, parakeet.
What's your favorite?
Gremlin.
What's your favorite mixed drink? A gremlin.
A gremlin. Oh my God, what is that? It'd be like rum and cough syrup. That's a gremlin. I think that's lean, David. I think you're right, actually. Turns you into a gremlin.
That is true. What was I going to say? Gremlin also made Blockade, as we said. Frogger
Oh,
and the very popular Moon Cresta. I actually hadn't heard of that.
wow.
Game. But
They made
damn, it's got
Frogger,
a
though.
cool
That's
name.
great.
Yeah, they made Frogger. Lots of frog-based games.
Frog likes, if you will.
Frog likes. I would like. Thank you. So yeah, they made old arcade games. They're like very classic arcade game makers. From there. There was a game that was released in 1977 on Atari that was called, and another powerful name here, Bigfoot Bonkers. That was the next Snake-like.
Bigfoot Bonkers.
Bigfoot Bonkers.
Wow.
Powerful.
That sounds sexual.
It does. It absolutely does. There's nothing in there that is explicitly explicit, but like saying out loud Bigfoot Bonkers, I feel like I kind of need to like say it in a little bit
It's what
of a
it doesn't
hushed tone.
say, you know? It's what it doesn't say.
Absolutely. The first home computer version of this game was called Worm, which, you know, checks out. You could easily see how it could be a worm. Worm. And another clone, Nibbler, was released in 1982 in arcades.
Okay.
Do you play Nibbler?
I did
You know
not play
this?
Nibbler, but I just think of Futurama when I hear Nibbler.
Yeah, sure. Get that. And finally, the game Serpent, which was the first reference to an actual snake, comes out for Game Boy in 1990.
Wow. Okay.
So people have been remaking Snake at this point for 13 years, so quite some time. 13? 23. 23 years? 1977 to 1990?
That's 13 years. You're right.
Yeah. Feels
You
bad.
got it.
13
You
years
can do
ago.
math, baby. I see you.
13 years ago doesn't feel very, very long ago.
From 1990 to 1977? Oh, from
that feels like
2022?
Yes. Till 2009.
That's a long time ago, dude.
Yikes. So, the place that most people will know this game from, most folks our age at least, is, as you suggested, playing it on a Nokia phone.
Mm-hmm.
The very first one that it was shipped on was the Nokia 6110,
Ooh.
which came out in 1998.
Whoa, man.
And I think most folks will know or be most familiar with the Nokia 3310, which is commonly known as the Nokia brick, the indestructible cell phone. And so I think most folks who have played Snake on a Nokia will know it from that one or a similar Nokia device. What's Snake? What's Snake, David?
Snake is a game that is on a square playing field, I guess you would call it. It's top down, I guess.
Yes, it is.
And you control a small, like, you start off two by one, like
I think a little bit longer, but yeah, not long.
Yeah, a thin but long snake or anomalous object that moves along a predetermined path, and you control either up, down, left, or right. And you go around on the map and you absorb or eat or just kind of intake little dots or food or what have you, depending on the skin of the game, and you grow.
Yep.
You get bigger, and you do that ad nauseum until you cannot grow any larger, or you hit yourself, because as you grow, your body will kind of trail behind you, right? And if you hit yourself, you lose. And if you hit the side, you lose as well, right? Yeah. So don't hit yourself, don't hit the side, but keep getting all the yummy little pellets that pop up on the map.
Yep.
That's pretty much the game.
That's Snake, baby.
That's Snake. This Snake ain't solid.
This Snake is not actually. It's not solid.
It's not.
You lose if you run into yourself. That's pretty solid.
That's pretty solid, but it like blinks. You know,
Yes,
doesn't
that's
it
true.
blink?
Wow. What to say about the Snake? What to say about the Snake?
It's a good time killer.
In my notes, I have 4 pages of content about the very first section here. And then I have a line that says, "What's cool about Snake?" and 1 bullet point that says, "That's video games, baby."
That is video games, baby.
It's video games, man.
It is like it's almost like the proto idle game.
A little bit, yeah.
You know?
Like you're definitely still playing it, but like it's not for anything.
It's barely alive. It's barely alive. You know?
Snake is similar to when someone found a pair of dice and the game that they played with each other was, let's roll the dice and see who gets a higher dice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is very, very basic.
It is. Yeah. It's like if Tetris is too fast for you, you play Snake.
I mean, it's good. Like it's very playable.
I mean, I enjoy Snake. I played it a lot when I was a kid.
It was a big. I loved playing this at the orthodontist. Big snake fan at the orthodontist.
It's a good one to do if you like going for the high score. If you like going for a high score, Snake is your game. And there is a good bit of strategy in it. Like, do you circle around the edges and go in? Do you stay from the inside and go out? Do you just not care and just go all wibbly wobbly all over the place and just play it fast and loose? You could tell a lot about a person by how they play Snake, honestly.
Have you beaten Snake? Have you ever gotten a kill screen?
No. Can you beat Snake?
I mean, kind of, right? Like, you can just fill the entire screen with Snake.
I never did that. I never had the patience to actually try and do that.
For the episode, for the podcast, I pulled up and I played some Snake. Made some personal sacrifices and played some Snake.
With a free app on the App Store.
There are thousands of Snake apps out there. There is one that boots up and shows you the screen of a Nokia, and you play it like as if it's a Nokia.
That's the one I want.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I played it, and it's hard to beat it. I was like, it's not that bad. I bet I know what to do, right? Like, you just fill up the whole screen, you go back and forth until you're done.
It gets stressful at the end.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to make those taking the corners right.
Did you get there? Did you do it?
No, I died. But like,
wow, you can beat Elden Ring, but you can't beat Snake. What a world!
What does that say about gamers these days, David?
Coddled. They don't make them like they used to.
Anyway, this is our Snake segment.
Ending on grumpy old man David. But honestly, I think playing Snake should be like used in personality tests and job interviews.
The Rorschach test.
Because I really feel like you can learn a lot about a person by how they play Snake.
What's your vibe? How do you play it?
I'm all over the place, baby. I just go.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I got no strategy. My strategy, no strategy.
What's your Snake Myers-Briggs?
Chaotic neutral.
Squiggly all over.
We have an SAO over here, guys. Just throw them out. Throw them out with the bathwater. We don't need this one.
I am a hunt around the perimeter kind of guy.
Hunt around the perimeter.
Like, I'm constantly kind of circling the drain.
Okay.
And
then you like come in for like a snack.
I'll come in for a snack, and then if I know that I'm not gonna like make it back out, I will try and like just go on the very edge, come back around, and then do the like zigzag up and down to like waste time until I can finally get back in the pit.
Into the pit.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. You really think about it.
A little bit, yeah. That's my Myers-Briggs, my Snaky Biggs.
Yeah. How do you play Snake, listener?
Yeah, what's your Snake vibe?
What's your Snake vibe? What is your Snake Myers-Briggs?
Are you some kind of Snake sicko and like have some kind of like way about doing this that I don't know about?
I don't know. Is there a sicker way to play Snake than the way I do it? Just all over the place?
No.
I'm a Snake degenerate.
But maybe that's the purest way to play it, like a real snake.
I'm just letting my snake instincts take over. I'm role playing this snake right now. The same way that you role played Wario, I'm role playing a snake while I play Snake.
I think I need to role play as Wario playing Snake. See how that goes.
My God. I'm thrilled to know what happens.
Can I kick my way out of this one?
You're just going to end up punting your phone across the room. That's the end result of that.
All right. Well, anyway, this is our Snake segment.
Snake.
That's pretty much all I got about Snake.
I like Snake. Snake's a fun game.
I like Snake too. It's a fun game.
There's not much going on, but it's good.
It's video. That's
video games.
That's video games, baby.
That's video games, baby. That's showbiz, baby.
Imagine your name
in snakes.
Lights, a bug in snakes on the big marquee.
That would be terrifying. I never want to imagine my name in snakes. I don't think I've ever imagined my name in snakes, and now I'm doing it, and it is disgusting.
Are the snakes connected by some kind of hive mind? Is that how they learned how to spell?
Ooh, they're like demon alien snakes or something?
It's called the snake mind.
Snake mind.
They combined their intelligence like the Geth.
This sounds like a My Hero Academia superhero power, or like villain
snake
power.
Mind is
Snake
definitely
mind.
A bad guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough. We can. That's good enough.
Let's end this one. So you can follow us on Twitter at Podtimism.
Yeah.
You can follow us on the TikTok
Yeah.
at Podtimism.
Yes.
You can email us, gmail at Podtimism. No, Podtimism@gmail.com. God, I'm always going to do that.
It feels better to say Gmail at Podtimism, but that ain't it.
That ain't it. Social media swapped it on us, and my brain can't switch back anymore. It's podtimism@gmail.com, please.
Yeah.
If you really want to help us out, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on Spotify or subscribe to us on any of your other listening devices. You can also, spread the good word. Go out and be an apostle of video game podtimism. That'd be cool. Let other like-minded folks know about what we're doing here.
That'd be cool.
If they like it, cool. If they don't, more power to them. I respect that decision.
Yeah.
Respect you. Thank you, Scout, for our beautiful artwork. We get sunflower emojis from people who listen to our show now. So you are now indelibly a part of our podcast. So welcome. Welcome to the family.
Welcome to the family. It's weird here.
It's weird here. Video game podtimism. It's weird here.
It's kind of weird here. We're just weird and goofy, Just
being
in a weird, silly, goofy mood.
It's just two weird, silly, goofy guys. Sounds really terrifying. It sounds awful.
It's pretty bad.
That's bad. Anyways, let's move on. And lastly, thank you, listener.
Sorry, the internet cut out. You just went on my end.
That's it. So lastly, thank you, listener.
Yes, thank you. For listening.
So it sounded like I was doing a hog call on the other end.
Thank you.
God, that video.
Come on, pig.
That video never ceases to crack me up. There's something about it.
You showed me that, and I was like, "This is David's video." Like, I feel like you brought it into the world somehow.
That's actually it's a pretty good vibe check for my inner monologue. Like, if you're trying to understand what's going on in my head on a daily basis, it's usually probably something similar to that video.
Thank you for listening to this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
We very much appreciate you being here and listening. Again, seeing some bumps and folks checking it out. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for checking it out.
Truly appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here. We love making it. So happy to have some more folks in the family.
Oh. Anyways, do you have any video game wisdom for the week, Chase?
Yeah. If you're making a podcast and you have a segment that you usually do that usually takes up like 45 minutes, just do it about Snake. It'll take like 5 minutes.
It was that's a hack. That's a podcast hack right there for sure. Just do Snake.
Podcast hack. Just do Snake.
Podcast hack. Just do Snake. Even if your podcast is about like sports or politics, be like,
just do Snake.
We're not about Snake today. Everyone knows Snake.
Here's where I would do the Ira Glass joke again about maybe doing a Snake episode, but I feel like I've done that one too many times now.
I still love it. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. I was just thinking it would be funny if Sakurai, when he's like, Snake's here, it was actually just Snake from the game Snake.
Oh wow, what a twist that would be.
Everybody's here, including Snake and Snake,
including Snake's best friends with Mr. Game & Watch.
That follows for sure.
Yeah. Podcast hack. Just do an episode about Snake. Because like if you gotta talk about like Elden Ring, Gran Turismo, Pixel Puzzle, Makeout League, Horizon Forbidden West, and UFC 4, like that's gonna take up some time.
That really did take up a lot of time, but those were all great games to hear about. I loved it.
Thank you. I always wonder if you're like enjoying yourself over there on the other end while I'm just like yammering on about video games.
I love your passion, baby.
Okay. That's good enough. We can work with that. We can make this work.
I always just try to find a little way to put a little joke in there every now and then.
That's what we do, Jason.
Just like to break you out of your passion speech and feel like poke it a little bit. Just poke at you.
Listen, that's the podcast.
That's video games, baby.
Imagine your name up in snakes on the marquee. The marquee made out of snakes.
It's still so terrifying. How many snakes would it take to spell your name in snakes on a marquee?
If you got one big snake, you can just do it that way.
Oh, so it's like the anaconda from Anaconda?
Yeah, or the snake from Snake.
Oh, or that snake.
Or the famous character Snake from Motorola's Snake.
Oh.
Or Serpent. Or Bigfoot Bonkers.
Okay, let's end it on that. Let's end it on Bigfoot Bonkers.
All right. See you next week.
Baby Bonkers.
No, there's too many bees in there.
I'm going to add as many bees as I want now.
He's a man on the loose. Adding as many bees as he wants to.
I'm all out of bees.
I came here to make podcast and say the letter B. And I'm all out of podcast.
I think we're going a little nuts now. We should end this.
Yeah, goodbye.
Okay, see ya.